All right, it's hashtag AskLauren, and we're answering another one of your questions today. A couple of times I've talked about how I've manifested things in my life. Most recently, I mentioned when I did my response video to J&J's Kitchen, talking about hot for food, I had quickly mentioned and glossed over the fact that I believe I manifested that to happen. So, Tiffany said, could you talk a bit more about this and how we could manifest things that we would like to have in our lives? Okay, so I'm gonna try my best here. I mean, I'm not an expert on manifesting. I can just tell you what I believe in, what I've been practicing and doing, and kind of the results. And there are some sort of like rules to live by when it comes to this that I've just learned from other people. So anything I say, I've basically learned from Mike Dooley, who I've talked about, who does Notes from the Universe, TUT.com, listening to Louise L. Hay, and recently I started watching Abraham Hicks on YouTube, and I'll get into a little bit of all that. But this has only really become a thing for me that I realized I was doing in the last couple of years. It all goes with the whole meditation journey that I've been on and just getting more tapped in, trying to become more conscious and aware of myself, my actions, my thoughts, my feelings, and how that all plays out to be the life that I'm living. And I've said this maybe once or twice before, is that as a young kid, I was visualizing and manifesting, but didn't have anything to call that. I didn't know that I was doing it. Only in hindsight realizing that, oh yeah, the thing that I visualized the most as a child was me being a Much Music VJ and wanting to work on television. And then of course I ended up living the life that I always dreamed of, and being exactly where I thought I would be at 25, 30, etc. Once I started reading Mike Dooley's literature, and mainly this book, Infinite Possibilities, and he also has a book called Leveraging the Universe, that's when I started sort of realizing, like, okay, let's practice this. And it all goes along with like positive affirmations and positive thinking. Mike Dooley says thoughts become things. Basically what you focus on is what is going to be created, whether you focus on negative things or bad things or positive things. And I think all of us are in a constant loop of negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. Becoming aware of where your thoughts sit, you know, on a minute-by-minute basis is the first step to manifesting. If you basically don't believe in anything that I'm saying and you're already going, that's not true, life just happens, things happen to people, blah, 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 you know, fine, that's what you believe, but then you're not gonna manifest what you want, and probably you'll manifest things you don't want because you're not aware of your thought patterns, and you're not aware of your limiting beliefs, and you're not aware of the things that you're thinking on such a deep level that are preventing you from being happy or preventing you from getting things that you want, whether they're small or big. Ever since I read these books and have been given tools in which to kind of manage my thoughts, and started meditating to become more aware of the things I'm thinking, I feel like I've gotten better at manifesting, and I've gotten quicker at it. Whereas this one sort of thing I always wanted, which was to work on Much Music, to be in television, I felt like it took a long time, and it felt like a hard road and a little bit of a struggle to get there. I'm not trying to be like, I had the struggle, like, you know, I'm not trying to be like that, but what I'm saying is when I look back at trying to make my dream happen of working on television and working as a Much VJ, I had a lot of ups and downs, and I had a lot of what seemed like weird ways of getting to where I wanted. And it all makes sense, and it all happened the way it was supposed to happen. But at the same time, I think I recognize that things can feel easier and be easier, and things are easy, and that you're only standing in your own way and making it difficult for yourself. What I'm trying to get at here is the key is to detach from the specific outcomes. So when it comes to wanting to be a Much Music VJ, that was all that I wanted. I knew exactly what that looked like, felt like, sounded like, etc., and visualized that. But I was so attached and stuck to that one goal, that one outcome of all my efforts, that I feel like that is where that struggle or that hard path comes into play, because I wasn't allowing myself to be open to anything else. And with that comes disappointment. So you do have to think about what you want in a large sense, in a big sense, no matter how big it might be. and really detach from how it might appear in your life, if that makes sense. Okay, so a good example of that is this J&J's kitchen thing. Jenna Marbles and her boyfriend posted a recipe that they made on their channel, and they said, oh, it's from Hot for Food, and they linked to us, and it kind of blew up that day on the internet. And since then we've been getting a lot more traffic to Hot for Food on YouTube. And basically my goal of wanting to do YouTube, wanting to be big on YouTube, wanting to make an impression on people in terms of vegan food and make people realize that being vegan isn't boring and that it isn't a sacrifice, and there's a lot of things that go along with, like, you know, what I want to be or where I want to be or what I want to do with all of these things that I'm doing. So in all my efforts, okay, in blogging, doing photography, starting the YouTube channel, things have started to come to me that are helping me become this bigger YouTube brand, like our thing with Kin. You know, I didn't know who Kin was. I didn't know that I was going to be on an MCN. I just have only said, I want to be on YouTube. I want to change people's lives with food. And however that's going to happen, I'm open to those ideas. And so the universe goes, cool, that's what she wants. Here's your deal with Kin. Your deal with Kin is going to leverage your position on YouTube and help you gain more followers and help you have more impressions on people. And then, you know, I had mentioned in that J&J's response video that I had a conversation with an ad network about 36 hours before Jenna Marbles and Julian posted that video, saying, I know something's going to happen where a ton of traffic's going to come towards our site because someone's going to share something. And I just want to have ads up here so that I can make money from this and kind of capitalize on that opportunity that I know is going to happen quickly. And that kind of knowing, that like undoubted, I know this is going to happen, which was also, I know I'm going to be a Much Music VJ. It was like, I just knew, comes from, I don't know, paying attention to life and paying attention to what we call coincidences and paying attention to just this higher calling that your higher self has for you and listening to that inner voice. And, you know, I didn't meditate as a child, but I did spend a lot of quiet time because I was so shy. And for a long time I was bullied as a little kid, that I think being and retreating inward that way and getting quiet allowed me to hear that inner voice, that inner calling. So all these opportunities are coming toward me to help me grow my Hot for Food YouTube channel, to help me become this face in the vegan community, to help spread this message, to help change people's lives, snowballs into whatever it's going to snowball into. And I'm not keeping sort of this end goal in mind of it's got to be exactly this and have this and have this. I'm just like, however I'm going to do that, like, use me and let's do this. And so I think I've just become a lot more detached from the outcome. And that is like really the main thing about manifesting, is think of what you want, visualize it, do what you can with what you have, which is what Mike Dooley says. Those are his words. Do what you can with what you have now, which is what I'm doing with this blog and this YouTubing stuff. It's like I'm just doing it and it feels right, but I don't know where it's taking me. And then eventually that thing that you want, that future version of yourself, is inching itself closer and closer to the now moment until it becomes the life that you're living. I should say that things like manifesting, like, I really want this thing, like, I really want an iPhone 6. I'm not so much of that kind of manifester, to be honest. I do want an iPhone 6, but, you know, I'm not like visualizing myself having an iPhone 6 every day. Like, I will say that the things I'm trying to manifest are quite big. They're big things and they're feelings. You know, focus on the feelings of things, not so much the things of things. I mean, I'm not telling you what to think about. You can think about whatever you want, because even Mike Dooley says, think about living in that mansion. Think about driving the fancy car. If you want a fancy car, go rent a fancy car for a day and drive around in it and act as though you own that fancy car. But I'm just saying, for me, I don't really manifest like these sorts of things. I just kind of go, who do I want to be? How do I want to feel? What kind of effect do I want to have on people? And I sort of submerge myself in that in a visualization. Even weird little things like, you know, when you think of somebody and then maybe they call you out of the blue and you haven't talked to them in forever, or you see them down the street. I mean, that stuff happens all the time to me and to the people I know. And And I think you can probably understand that this happens to you too, but it's like paying attention to those things. And the more you pay attention to those things and kind of realize that like life is kind of going like, hey, like, you know, I'm here. Like it's like the universe is like winking at you and being like, did you know that like there's this cool magical power happening right now that you can tap into? And it's like, pay attention to those weird, what we call coincidences. And the more you notice that stuff and pay attention to it and kind of get excited by it, I feel like that taps you into that power, and that helps you be able to manifest faster and easier. And it should be easy. It shouldn't be this hard thing, because if you're the only one in your own way putting up this resistance. So if you're just like, this is hard and I can't manifest and da 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 da, you know, take 10 steps back and think about it. Think about how your thoughts or your limiting patterns or things like that you believe are getting in your own way, because that's really all it is. It's like nobody else. It's like all you have is you. You and the you that's like somewhere out in another dimension. And that's essentially all there is to it. So it's like tapping into that you in that other dimension that knows that you can be this amazing thing, right? And already is that amazing thing. And know that that exists somewhere so you can get there too. Okay, I could talk about this forever. So leave some comments and questions in below. And if you have any stories of things that relate to this in terms of manifesting things in your life, I would love to hear from them. And maybe we can do more videos about this in the future. But that's a pretty good intro on manifestation and kind of the things that I'm learning and reading about. Look up Mike Dooley, read his books, Infinite Possibilities and Leveraging the Universe. I'll put all this in the description. As well, start watching Abraham Hicks on YouTube. It's Esther Hicks who channels the spirit energy that she calls Abraham. They give her messages and she gives those messages to us. And it's all about how to manifest stuff. It's all about how to, you know, take control and harness the power in the universe to make this amazing life for yourself. And it gets pretty blah, like it's like heavy stuff, and you're gonna need to keep listening to this stuff over and over again and reading this stuff over and over again, like I do all the time, because how quickly we forget, you know? Something bad happens or something annoys us and we start thinking all negatively and we're spiraling out of control again, and then we gotta come back and go, nope, that's not how it goes. So it's this constant reminder. That's it for me. Thank you, Tiffany Kwan, for the questions. Sorry that was so long. Hopefully you got something good out of it, and I'll see you guys on Sunday. Bye.